It's very difficult to explain to a layman the absolute state of video gaming journalism that we are cursed with today. And the reason is that very few people even read these publications, but for some bizarre circumstance, it seems that the game developers really care about the opinion that video game journalists have. And I know this because I personally get to talk to several game developers that work at AAA companies, and uh, there is this belief that the game journalists actually speak for the gaming community. Now, the reason that they write articles that are complete garbage, that have nothing to do with the actual gaming community, and worst of all, don't make any sort of logical or coherent sense, oftentimes they contradict themselves within the same article, is because they don't play video games. And for a while, I legitimately wondered, like, why is this the case? I mean, the way I thought is that the person in charge might not be a gamer, but they would still hire actual gamers. I mean, part of the requirement to work at a company like Kotaku should be to actually play video games. But no, apparently what's going on is that these people have formed a clique of ticks, if you want, where they like to get wine and dine by gaming companies, and they like to feel in power as they gatekeep how a company should behave. And if a company doesn't behave the way they like, they write smear articles. You see, most of these people cannot convince the average Joe to purchase a game, but they can ruin a brand. They can ruin a reputation. And more often than not, they don't. So this is why companies are afraid of them. But, you know, enough talk. Let me just show you some bizarre articles that you can find from these prestigious publications. One of them being Kotaku, which recently had to shut down its UK branch. And the reason they did it is because they're not profitable. Like, no one is reading them. But, you know, it's on life support now, so it has to churn some garbage articles like this one, for example. And the title alone is enough to trigger me. They put this catch-all umbrella of Western video games, which I assume, like, encompasses everything from America to Poland. Like, there is no more individuality, especially when it comes to games coming from Eastern Europe. For example, like CD Projekt Red, which is a Polish company. And I like to think that they're distinct, like you can see their uniqueness and the rich diversity expressed through their video games. And I kind of can see now, you know, a couple of games that are coming from France. I kind of get to see the vibe, you know, when French Ubisoft is pushing a game. But, like, no, like, for them, all white people are the same, I guess. And it's also kind of funny when you look at it because countries like Romania, and I think Poland as well, we don't really consider ourselves to be Western. I don't know the American point of view in this situation, but here it was the Western nation that were capitalist, like France, Western Germany, Great Britain. And then you had the Eastern Bloc, which was under Soviet influence, you know, like nations under the Iron Curtain. We still consider ourselves a little bit distinct than France, for instance. So I don't know if, like, the Polish would appreciate you, like, calling them Western and putting them in the same cultural pot with all the other nations. I mean, we like our, you know, cultural differences, because I think that's what makes us unique and makes multiculturalism so great, right? Because it's the rainbow colors, not beige, a boring beige, like they like to call it. But anyway, right, so Western video games keep putting katanas into the hands of East Asian characters. And I would like to burst your bubble, but even Asian games, right, like games from Japan, games from China, they also do this heresy. They put the katana into the hands of East Asian characters, as if this is something wrong. You know, like, go play Final Fantasy. You know, there's plenty of characters there. You know, like Square Enix creates plenty of Asian characters that have katanas in their hand. Oh no, the heresy. Oh, racismus. Oh. And then it's like, even if it makes no cultural or tactical sense, like you are talking about a game called Cyberpunk, and nothing in that game makes tactical sense. It's about what looks cool. It's like looking at Final Fantasy and talking about, oh, well, it makes no tactical sense to carry a sword that's twice the size of a person. Who said that it's supposed to make tactical sense? Where does it written that games, like every type of genre, is there to simulate reality? If I want reality, I go outside. What is wrong with these people? Like, they are so bizarre. They are so bewildering in what they write that it makes no sense. And not to mention, like, what's wrong with an Asian person having a katana in their hand? It's like, oh, why are you putting a Zweihander in the hands of a German? Do you not know that it is stereotypical? Like, what the fuck? And then you have this garbage, which, by the way, is a company that really, really tried to suck that social justice cock to the point where they started projecting out of their asshole a virtue signal on the sky like it's the bat signal. I mean, these people went out of their way to create a character that has pronouns of they. And I'm thinking, like, imagine this. You're in your spaceship in outer space. And all of a sudden you hear on the intercom, they are coming. And you legitimately, like, don't know what they're talking about. So you think it's like, oh, they, the enemy, like plural, multiple ships. And, you get into battle positions with your squadrons. It's like, oh no, it's that one guy. They go by they pronoun. What the? But anyway, it makes absolutely no sense in the story. It's just forced. No one outside of the Western gaming company, Western, like outside of California, uses they as pronouns. You can't even translate they into Romanian. You can't translate they into Chinese. This is something, very recent. Again, I understand the idea of a transgender or whatnot, but like they, like, okay, whatever, Englishman. So look how they're reviewing it, okay? The same problem prior to Star Wars Media has, is that the Empire are space Nazis. Now, I guess like the stormtroopers, but they're not really like the Nazis. I hate this distinction. I guess like maybe George Lucas wanted them to be, but I don't see the supremacy aspect of it. Like I never got to see it. It's like the Empire had men and women serving under them. They had different races. Like, okay, maybe they exploited some, but then again, like, so did other empires in human history that were the Nazis. I'm sorry, I didn't see it. But like, okay, whatever. So they say that the Empire squaddies are diverse, with people of color, a gay pilot, older people, and many women. But just adding diverse faces to the space fascists. So how are they Nazis if they're diverse? Because then they say they dress like the Nazis. It's like, all right. Do the clothes make the person? Like, I don't understand. So if the Nazis had lederhosen, if I dress with lederhosen, is that the problem? I never understood like this type of thing. It's like, okay, so the clothes make the person now. The racist towards non-humans, you just said they're diverse. And they are willing to hurt or kill innocent people at the drop of a hat. Like, honestly, this confuses the fuck out of me. Like, I don't know what the hell are they writing about. I haven't played the game. I'm not going to buy it. It's not my thing. But, like, reading this article, if I'm really interested in a game review, like, what I want to know is, like, dude, is it playable, right? Does it have bugs? Is it fun? Like, that's the question. No, instead it's like, no, you're going to play this very diverse faction. It's got gay people in it. It's got people of non-color. It's got a lot of women. But they're space Nazis. And it's like, what the fuck? What am I reading? Should I buy the game or not? And then you got this coup de grace. Like, if you thought you're going to be allowed to have any sanity left, this article is going to take it away from you. I think that this is a perfect article for criminals to cover their tracks. Because if someone witnesses you committing a crime, you get them to read this article and they're going to get brain damage. They're going to be drooling from the mouth, and they're not going to be able to cooperate with the authorities in order to recognize you as the criminal. No, seriously, like, this is the best article. Like, you can use it to torture people with it. Like, look at this, okay? So The Last of Us Part 2, again, like a video game which bended itself like a pretzel to please these people. Like you will not find a more social justice game out there than The Last of Us 2. Like, it's impossible. I don't think humanity is capable of creating something more progressive than The Last of Us 2. Like, I don't think it's possible. You know, I will probably be shocked by 2021. I will probably be proven wrong somehow. But up till now, I think this, yes, by far is the most progressive game. And they still have to complain about it. Why? Because the game environment doesn't acknowledge disabled people. Not one building in the ruins of Seattle had an accessible bathroom. If you're unaware, the game takes place, I believe, 30 years after civilization collapsed. I mean, there's no more roads anymore. They're all covered by flora. There's grass everywhere. The buildings are in a state of collapse. It's like, imagine if not a single person would live in the city. And you'd leave the city like that for 30 years. I mean, it would collapse in disrepair, right? Like, the floods would be everywhere. Plants would grow all over, right? That's the thing in The Last of Us 2. And they're looking at it and it's like, why are there transgender bathrooms in it? This is game journalism. This is the articles that they're writing. There is no quality control. There is not a single person that I would say is a gamer. None of the issues they talk about are issues that get talked about on any gaming forums outside of Reset Era. I generally do not understand why do they not want to make money. I mean, no, seriously, like, you have to take a step back. And I know it's difficult, but you need to realize, like, these used to be businesses. Like, they were built to create a profit. They were made in order to make money and appeal to gamers. And they wonder, like, well, okay, why did Kotaku UK have to close down? Like, I don't know what to say, but, like, this is astonishing. Like, what I'm reading here is absolutely bewildering. And again, like, this is just like a couple of articles. You can do bigger digging and find things more shocking than this. And these people are still treated with prestige, with respect. It's like their grades go on Metacritic. Like, they're considered to be some sort of people of authority on the subject. It's ridiculous. But it is what it is. What is insanity, though, and this is absolute mental retardation, is to take business advice from these people. Like, if you're a gaming company and you want to make or market the game and you listen to these people that are with one foot in bankruptcy, you're insane. You're crazy. You just, like, listen to what these people say. You know what? I'm wrong. You should listen to what these people say and do the exact opposite. Because at least you might end up making money. If that's what you want to do in a business, you know, to make money, to earn a living. Maybe, you know, like, this is something important. I don't know. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you guys in the comment section.